welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons. And unfortunately, occasionally have so much crap dumped on you that even playing pretend is too much. Poor Ethan. So yeah, we're down a bard. We're down two bards actually, and that's kind of the plot line we're following at the moment. Um, because previously, after a somewhat Pyrrhic victory in Black Crown, which is either going to go back to Iron Crown or just wind up being nothing because the small, mostly insignificant province is effectively dead. Um, Remy's patron uh, had a demand that was effectively the Protector Azamar have been under um, unwilling protection for too long now, and it needs to stop. Plan was effectively for Alisaie to go in as effectively an excuse to get them in there. This went a little bit worse than anybody could possibly have expected it to go, because when the Scourge Azamar of Anbir said they were protecting the Protector Azamar, they meant in the helicopter parent style. That is effectively the kind of, you'll thank me when you get older, and I'm doing this for your own good, and they don't want them to hear about anything outside the walls beyond the things that will scare them enough to stay there. At the moment, there is an anti-magic field over most of the settlement. Alisaie is not having a good time. And they do at least have some allies among the Guard. Apparently, there's effectively two factions within the Guard. There's Captain Tag and his adherents, who are either so traumatized by what they saw when their various settlements were annihilated by the black shit, and wouldn't wish that on anybody, particularly not the type of Azamar that gave their lives and more to get them out. And so they will never see it happen again. But also lumped into those are the ones that know that if they no longer have a duty here, they might have to go out and fight that shit, and they don't really want to do that. But then there's the sensible ones who think this is all a whole bunch of bullshit and are about this close to starting the violence that they're actually trying to avoid. Because the problem is that Anbir is the capital of effectively Equitas's breadbasket. Most of the food comes from there. So if the Guard starts fighting amongst themselves, there's going to be some shortages and some significant problems worse now because, of course, it's winter time. So anything that they're growing in places with a less suspiciously temperate climate wouldn't do them any good at all. Cope briefly with what Farida was up to, because I thought it was easier to just put Farida elsewhere. Basically, she decided that, well, this bunch were going to go and, well, Remy, Barnabas, and Clarity were going to go and meet the two guards that effectively represent their side of this whole mess, and the others wandered the street of love and beauty for a while, and Hazel's putting her foot in her mouth wound up with her being very small in the corner of an art cafe. Farida basically took a walking tour of the area to try to find the street and or streets that they'd need to go to look up, things like Tharisdun, the Chained Oblivion, etc., and chase up various of the lore on that score, maybe find out more about the kind of worship they do in the southern lands. There was no worry about anything being shut. because uh, they worship by doing in this city. Nothing closes. So effectively, Farida wandered around and was probably distracted by a hell of a lot because there's a lot to this city. It's each of the major gods has a street basically all their own. Uh, Balinor and Barry's are basically a massive open air market. Um, the Street of Love and Beauty isn't just negotiable affection venues, but also art, fashion. It's love and beauty. So it's a very, very pretty street. Um, and then, of course, there's the Street of Song, which is Broncala's. And the music there kind of threw Darwin into kind of a tizzy. Just a teeny bitty bit. Uh, but after a certain amount of wandering, Farida finds a sort of an unconsidered side street um, off a spot that's you're pretty sure it's devoted to Rao, but the 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 god of reason is not one that you had a whole lot of contact with. But off to one side is almost narrow enough to be termed an alley, which is Street of the Lost Ones. Go through there, and you wind up in a mid-sized cul-de-sac that has a anyone who very few of you have seen London, where there are these little side streets full of kind of creepy looking old bookstores, all of them looking very specialty. But in this case, it's not like classic car manuals, opera librettos, etc., etc. There's no labels on anything, and they don't keep outside wares very much. But you're intelligent and you know a fair few languages, so when you've looked into windows, you've noticed that there's one fairly large shop of that type, narrow but several stories high, um, that appears to be to do with Zavillan. So her worship is still tucked away in there. There's some you've never even heard of, and even smaller alley off that is, I hate to bring up She Who Shall Not Be Named, but it's the best cultural touchstone I've got. There's a certain Nocturne Alley feel to this one. It feels creepy. And it doesn't take very much looking to determine this is where you go to learn about the dark gods. And given that by the time you get to there, it's going on past midnight, everything's still open, but you're technically still young, sort of. And it's creepy in there. And you did say you wouldn't start without them,
Yeah.
because you know Clarity would want to help, and that's your predominant excuse for backing away from the creepy slowly and getting the hell out. So you managed to make it back to the Mobius twins plantation house in the bone orchard, and greeted effectively by Niala dropping out of a tree relatively nearby and going, "Okay, you look mildly freaked out. Is
Yeah.
is that just because of me?"
No.
Good. Oh, yeah, I know. I think I know the district you went to. Yeah, your friends aren't back yet. Couple of them came by, asking for a couple of things from the bone orchard because potion or something. I don't really know. They were kind of in a hurry. I'm just praying, I don't have to bail any of them out of jail. But if I'm praying for anything, this is probably the place to do it. We have
Fair.
we have set you up a room.
Okay.
You get put in a room on the what I'd call the first floor and you'd all call the second floor. That is apparently some of Alana's spill off from the room that inexplicably the twins still share. Uh, there's some weird shit in there. Glowing crystalline mushrooms, various skeletal models of various small-ish things, except for something that looks distressingly like a baby dragon hung from the ceiling. Alana very briefly peeks in and goes, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have suggested this one. It's just that you looked like the type who wanted to know everything.
I
So,
do,
does that mean
but
you want to move?" Nyala! I owe you another 5 gold! Oh, fuck's sake. Come on. And she leads you to the room on the other side of the Mobius twins room, which is absolutely pin neat. There is no clutter in this room. The only things you will find there are effectively a weapons rack that has multiple types of bows and a floor to ceiling yet narrow bookshelf of what appear to be a awful lot of handwritten notebooks. This is my spillover. The books are my travel notes. They're going to be in light, so you'll probably have time to read them before they wake up. But
okay. So
but
I was going to ask before I started to make sure I had permission to go through them.
that's why I'm saying because I figured I'd spare you the asking. I've lived a very long time. I've seen a lot of faces. I can read them pretty well. If I had wanted to be insulting, I would have put you in with Alana's stuffed animal collection. And no, I don't mean plush animal, I mean stuffed.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing. Rest well.
Thank you.
So yeah, you do wind up awake somewhat earlier than this bunch. You probably figure you'll know when they wake up because they're them. So, and I take it you are going to start reading through at least one of these things.
Oh, of course.
Hand of Fate time. Yeah, you wind up with. Well, it depends on where you want to stop. There's the first 3 books that you look at are Egref like 500 years ago, uh, Aumbach like 200 years ago, or The Shattered Lands like 500 years ago.
Hmm. Shattered Land seems kind of relevant.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you wind up following along with their adventures. And yeah, this is the Trin and Taniel that have been mentioned a couple of times. Um, and you've got to around the point of uh, the creepy town place where His Majesty, the Archfey of Chaos and Misrule, lived, and the rats apparently wanting to make dinner of the halfling. Um, when there's a knock knock on the door, and you can take that down if you want. I'm not against reading at table, but your people are starting to wake up, so.
Okay, thank you.
And if you want something more relevant further down, there's one from about 50 years ago.
Grab that as well.
Yeah, you all get various knocks on doors, just going, you've slept as much as you're gonna. Breakfast is happening. And yeah, downstairs to table, and you have very nice fresh toast. Um, I don't think that Hazel's parents broke out the maple spread uh, at any point when you guys were there, but there is definitely some here now, so Hazel knows it pretty well. It was pretty common fare at the Thatchers too, given, trees. And honestly, I figure even Ryland's people would have made that. Because again, you're in the forest and maple is about the sweetener you've got. But yeah, it's basically a kind of a maple treacle that you spread on toast. Um, and Nyala at stove. There's going to be fruit salad. After I've yelled at Alana to bring the fruit in here already. Um, how does is actually no? I'm just gonna ask it this way: is scrambled okay? And are you all right with herbs and things?
Fine with me.
Oh yes, quite.
Good, fine. Also bacon or sausages. Why do I see a
Bacon.
both look? Why do I see a both look on Minotaur face?
Because both is correct.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
That's fine. I can multitask. Alana, make sure you get doubles of the fruit. We have hungry people here. I need another basket and another Mr. Bones. You don't need another Mr. Bones. You need one of the other ones. Yeah, but they're busy. Just pick one. Figure it out. You're 500 odd years smart. I think you overestimate me. No, I really don't. Slam. Fruit salad may be a little while.
I could go help.
No, I'm pretty sure you guys have things to discuss.
Sure.
Given that you've got Farah to probably book toast. Munch. Munch.
And down the literary rabbit hole that one's gone.
Oh, that isn't what you think. Why do I see everybody looking at Farida and her finally noticing after a moment, looking up and like, oh, right, people.
What?
So, what did you find?
Found where we should probably go to look, but I didn't go ahead because that place freaky.
Freaky as in dangerous freaky, or
Probably.
Not really dangerous. It's just that if you're studying, I'm pretty sure I know where she's talking about. If you're studying the dark gods, you're getting close to a realm of kind of creepy. So not really dangerous, but definitely danger adjacent.
yes, you were wise to not go in yourself.
And I don't think anything would have hurt her, but I given how late it was, I can't blame anybody for getting unduly freaked out. Because it's not unduly, it's a very rational thing to get freaked out.
Find anything in those books?
Yeah, currently you're reading that even 500 years ago, this jackass was doing gladiatorial competitions of absolute unfairness for favors.
Well, just reading about the twins' notes on the Shattered Lands, and yeah, back 500 years ago, it sounds about uh, like gladiatorial combat for favors. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. To summary, our elven friend Tanielle and Trin, Hoffling from Ambach of all places, um, there was a whole bunch of stupid shit. And long story short, they uh, traded their way home for a means to uh, put into long-term stasis a ritual circle to Tiamat at the bottom of this old temple to Tiamat out in Almaver. Uh, it didn't bug Trin too much, because you imagine Hoffling and all that snow. But it bugged Taniel a lot. So we happened to trip over, because it was traded to a satyr who is more connected to the Feywild than some Fey get. And turns out that it had gone to this third archfey that Farada over there will probably trip over fairly soon in the reading, named Chance. Chance gave that as payment for something I did not want to ask. To Chaos and Misrule dude. And so we had to do something to get it back. It took a lot of relatively slick negotiation, and sorry to spoil it for you, but I'm not that good of a writer anyway, so doubt I'm spoiling much. The last one, the one that was going to decide, because we each asked for a boon, and mine was that I live as long as my sister does, which is how we ended up like this. So they put me and Tanielle on one team, and Trin and my sister on the other, and we had to fight each other, and only the winners got their boon. Thankfully, I made it an easy choice, but it did pit me against my sister. I kind of made Tanielle do it. Not that shooting Trin was any nicer or more fun for me, but
Yeah, he's a dick like that.
yeah, sounds like. Looking at you and honest. No, it'd be Darwin who would probably remember. Go say, so you said ritual circle to Tiamat. What did it look like? And she describes this circle with 5 sort of bowls on pedestals, and each of the bowls had a different color flame. And I think of the group that's with us right now, it's only Remy and Hazel who were there for that accidental spilling of Umber Hulk blood that woke it back up. She's talking about the same one that you went to as part of your trials. for the brass arrows.
Oh.
Yeah, Darvin is going, fuck's sake. Okay,
Those looks familiar.
okay, what?
We were in that region for the brass arrows, hunting an Umber Hulk.
Let me guess, it woke up.
Umber Hulk goo got on it, and that's our best guess.
Oh, fuck. Well, hopefully it doesn't do what it did the last time.
What did it do last time?
It involved a portal, and I think it was a Hezaru. Basically fell out of it and annihilated a settlement near to the Almaver borders.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, pretty much. And then again, what we ended up doing did significantly weaken it, so I don't think that's going to be a worry for a while. And somebody knows about it, right? That something woke up down there? Good, then they'll be able to do something about it. I'm assuming that y'all have other things to be dealing with. And starts putting scrambled eggs with various herbs and some plates of bacon and sausage for y'all to help yourselves. So you gonna share with your friend what else happened? What happened to you guys while she was braving creepy alley? I'm not disparaging, by the way. I think that place is creepy.
Given there's the clarity, Remy, you were the ones who went and talked. I think you guys should start.
So we met with Adelaide.
Sorry, out of character, very briefly. Brian, your chungus is stretching a paw out at you like pet me.
Yes, I know.
I just happened to notice the
Pet me, human.
No, that's not an order. That was a. This is how you do it. This is how you do it.
Don't be surprised if Nightmare hops back up on top of this as well today. I've been sitting the two of them because Adam's house sitting for his friend and Rich, so they've both been like, attention, you are only human.
There are worse things.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he's looking at on the ceiling, mind you.
My fan, I think.
Oh no!
That is
No! Don't
that
you
is
dare yeet at it! You already.
Chungus doesn't have the hops to eat at it, so it's okay.
No.
Also, I think Nose is being laughed at because now he's doing the washing displacement activity. Anyway, sorry. Yes, clarity.
Cat.
So they said that some of the guards, a good portion of the guards, are just too traumatized from what they've seen of the black shit destroying their towns and such. And so they're trying to protect the Protector Azamar, who don't particularly want to be protected and want to help. But they're trying to make it so that they're like, this is good for you and whatever.
This is for your own good is the normal way of phrasing that.
Yes. So there let's see. Looking through my notes. And then there's also like the Scourge Asmod don't want. They're pretty scared of that shit, so they don't want to be sent out to go fight it if they don't have someone to protect here where it's nice and safe from that stuff. Because they also know what happens to Asmar when they get into contact with them. Yeah, and let's see. We got some ingredients. That's why we were here and there and all over the place last night, and so that Clin, Adelaide's companion, would make a potion that would so that the dreams that Alisaie is going through, the nightmares that she's going through while she's under this sort of sleep spell, will not be a thing anymore, and she won't have to worry about that anymore, and won't be effectively tortured any longer.
From what I know, it probably wasn't Clint actually making the potion. I figure he handed it off to Barrett downstairs at that particular Inn of Justice. Because, yeah, that probably got lost in background, so, yeah. Yeah, Alana's sort of come in through the back door with one basket of fruit and being followed by one of her skeleton army with a basket on each somewhat trembling arm, which is really weird when you're watching it as a walking skeleton. And Alana's, oh yeah, the more potion connected druids are going on about why anybody would ask specifically for potions that give specific nightmares. And I think a couple of them only did it for the challenge. Niala's just they're the ones who probably belong in Egref. Yeah, I think they got told to stay here because nobody wanted them the free reign of Egref. Fair, but clearly what they're doing here isn't any better.
Tag wants a new way of scaring the Protector Asimar into staying here. It's not enough to just tell them if he can literally show them, not realizing what could happen by doing that.
We don't have silent image anymore.
And even that that's not as bad as...
I know, I'm being vaguely sarcastic. I'm basically rolling my eyes verbally. So, what is on the agenda for the day?
We need to meet with the governor at some point soon, but we also need to head back into the district to talk with some of the other Protector Asimar at the market.
Well, I seem to remember yesterday me saying that you probably want to make an appointment before you go and see the governor. And Darvin is like, I can go do that. I mean, they don't know me particularly well in there anyway. And honestly, I'm probably going to find it really hard to keep my mouth shut. Hazel, they need you in there. I mean, if nothing else, they're protectors, and there's somebody in the same position, kind of worse position than you were in, locked up in a tower in there right now, and she was being good to them. If you want to kick off their protective instincts, you remind them of that.
I'm aware.
Yes, I know, but you need to turn that into a weapon. That's what Alisaie always telling me. You turn your words into a weapon. But honestly, the two you need they need to hear most from, apart from that, because that's going to awaken the protector over the fear, you know? But the two they really need to hear from are Faraday and Rylan. Because they're all scared of this black shit. You survived it. Sort of. You know what I mean? You know how bad it is, but you're still out there fighting it. And you have protection and allies, and it's not like you're going to be alone to just turn into a ghoul monster, because we're here. And the protectors will find us's. Probably less flaily us's, but us's anyway.
Heh.
But, I mean, Faraday, you literally died to it, and then you came back, and then you grew up real fast. And yeah, okay, it still freaks you out, but you'll still fight it. You're still out there enjoying life. And Rylan, same thing. You've never been outside your forest, and everything is creepy for you and weird, and your home is getting gunked and was getting gunked when you left. And sorry, I'm not saying this right, but you're coping. You're taking the world and not not living it quite like I would, but you're not like Aaron when he kind of hid from everything. You try things and you don't freak out and you enjoy what's there to be enjoyed, and you're still fighting. Even though you're scared. I mean, I know from Star Coast, kind of, but that's kind of. I lived in two places, basically, and it wasn't the only thing I knew the same way. You guys know what it's like to lose what you knew and still be brave enough to fight what took it. Am I making any sense at all? I mean, Barnabas, you probably wouldn't hurt either. You're a different thing, but you're in a whole new world. And probably part of the reason they're so scared is because, apart from the ones who were, like, older when the black shit happened to them, most of them have never known anything else. So they're probably as scared of walking out into a world they've never seen before. Why do you think they hated Alisaie coming down and telling them stories? You guys can show them what it is to be brave even though you're scared, in a way that they can understand. And, I'm probably going to get really bombastic and talk over everybody, so I'm going to go and make that appointment with the governor and probably stop by something to do with Bahamut, because it's been a little bit too long without having asked about this. When somebody asks you, Bardman, what the fuck is up with your soul, and you realize you don't exactly have an answer, it's probably a good thing to get one. But,
You're welcome, I think.
hey, it was a good question. Gotta laugh. You can't ask for better than that. Yeah, I mean, you guys are gonna have at least the. I mean, this is more of a brunch than a breakfast. So, Niala's just you know the street by now. Rosetti's. It's a restaurant. Meet there. And finish your breakfast. And yeah, it's a lot of plunks this massive bowl of fruit salad because she's had her various skeletons chopping things. And she'd been chopping while listening in and being really inattentive, and you may have heard a couple of mutters as she's healed herself of a few nicks from because looking at out. You
Oh,
guys are
good God.
interesting.
Just random sparkle waves.
Yeah, so it's occasional muttering and random green sparkliness over there. But yes, I can imagine that Barnabas in particular has eaten extremely well.
Mhm.
Because again, this is she's calling it plain simple breakfast. This is to you guys no. This is the standard here, apparently.
I guess it's good if this is what you'd call plain.
Well, yeah, I mean, Alana was talking about bringing out Mom's old baking recipes. Cinnamon buns! I will watch her.
Oh, boy.
Or, okay, not cinnamon buns. Do we not like cinnamon? Is there things we'd prefer? We
No,
don't
it's not a
have guests
dislike.
very often.
I don't think it's a dislike. I think we're just worried about you.
I mean, that's sweet, but you guys are the ones in trouble. And Niala's just let her have this. She either knows what you mean and is pretending not to save face, or she doesn't know what you mean and just don't. Okay, who do I trust with a key to this place? And then it just chucks it in Barnabas's direction.
Yeah,
Probably
he's
good
the
choice.
only one with the ability to stop and logic a lot of things.
Also, I
I
think
mean, I
people
don't
would.
quite agree, but
I actually think it's more that people are. It's not like every city has a little bit of crime, and people are definitely going to think twice about pickpocketing that.
Yeah.
valid point.
Yeah, most petty crime goes for a little smaller than me, generally.
Ha!
Okay. So, what's the plan?
Yes, skeletons are clearing your breakfast dishes, by the way. And,
Thank you.
Alana's skeleton friends are kind of doing the, wash, dry, put away thing around you. Yeah, pretty much.
So,
And-
Gavin's gonna go to get an appointment with the governor, and
Yeah.
we're going to go back to the.
Well, you guys are gonna do what you're gonna do, and we're gonna meet at Rosetti's.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
We're gonna talk to the Asimar. The Protector, Asimar. Hopefully avoid Tag.
Well, I'm going to wish you luck. I mean, I was gonna say if I'm not there, you'll probably be a little less conspicuous, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of gesturing at the whole Antheus, Lindira, Brian section of your
Menagerie.
screen. Yeah, just,
Yeah.
Then 3 different.
and yeah, appointment first, then talk to somebody who knows something about Vomit, and then I will meet you at Rosetti's. Right. and
Yeah, it's
peeks
nothing.
and peeks back in. Could I get directions to the? And Neala just gives him a series of directions and thanks. Sorry, bye. And you worry about Alana?
I worry about both of them.
Just go talk to people.
You got it.
Okay. And it's obviously still not a very long walk to the little settlement, and doesn't look overly different in proper daylight. Although, insight check for anybody looking at the guards at the gate.
Are we outside the magic field?
For the moment, yes.
Okay.
I rolled a 2.
I also rolled a 2. Same hat. Great.
Okay, so and
Anyone?
of all of y'all, it's the one who hadn't actually seen any of them that rolled the absolute highest on this. Which I suppose means she has fewer preconceptions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Hazel's too full of... Rylan is still getting used to this amount of face. And Ava, unfortunately, still slightly has the tendency to, if the guards don't look overly impressed, try to ignore it, not because you're being mean to them, but because, it's... If we tell them off for looking unhappy, we're going to lose guardsmen, and they don't have to be, they don't have to be fawning and obsequious. They just have to not literally swear at us to our faces. Barnabas is savvy enough about guards people to know that the posture's fine, the posture's perfect, but the posture's hard won. You're not sure what it is they're stifling, but there's something beyond I am on gate duty and I'm bored. Clarity and Remy those two are not standing quite where they should be. They're standing a little bit too far apart. Not by much, but one who's a half step sideways from being a guard herself, and Clarity, who knows how to avoid them, knows that there's a certain place you stand when you're guarding a door, because it means you don't have to move so much to bar entry. They have eschewed that by maybe a step, not much, but enough so that it would be a step that they'd have to close in. So that's not right. And Clarity's thinking she's seen that maybe once or twice before when her sneaking around indicated that a couple of the guards were not unduly pleased with each other. Farida, to be honest, Farida lucks out here because this is kind of out of her remit, but she was a schoolgirl, what was for her not very long ago. That is, we're not supposed to be on this particular duty. We have been put here as timeout because we got into more than just the average yelling fight over something. And now we're being put out here to learn to at least coexist, and we're still in the sulking phase of that. So they probably had a punch-up, at minimum, at some point in the not-too-distant past. No bruises are visible, but you do know Azamar can heal. So, yeah, as you're approaching, you're seeing that. I don't know if you want to stop and discuss that before... Farida seems to be attempting to get your attention, because Antheus is quiet about it. Farida is
Yeah.
6.5 feet tall and bright silver.
um, I'm not sure how obvious it is, but those two are essentially looks like they've been being punished by being forced on duty together.
That makes sense.
Can I look again now?
Why would you want to? They have the answers. Let them have the answers. They get to have the spotlight right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like now that they've pointed it out, because I'm still clearly completely not
Yeah,
registering about having that.
that's the thing. You take their word for it, and yeah, you can probably see that, but you're not really overly familiar with how guards behave, so this makes sense.
Still clueless. Perfect.
But it makes sense because you've seen the occasional timeout corner.
It's like a get along shirt, except it's a get along guard duty.
Oh no.
Barnabas's look of horror and horror and nostalgia at the same time.
That is curious.
I'm not really sure what that information gets us, but
It means something happened.
Okay, I'm gonna give this one to Barnabas because Barnabas knows from guard work. Give me an intelligence check.
Gotcha.
Your TN is not unduly high, so don't worry too much about it. Yeah, so Barnabas heard everything that Clint and Adelaide said last night about them. They're effectively being two very divided factions between the Scourge Azamar, and now these two have apparently had a punch-up. What that probably means is that they weren't the only ones.
I think some shit went down between the factions last night. So these two probably ain't the only ones that get into a physical disagreement.
Could we maybe use that if we get some trouble from the guards? We could maybe sort of pick at their wounds a little bit. Get them to be distracted by going against each other a little bit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Barnabas, wouldn't poking at their sore spots just mean they won't let you in the door?
Save that for if once we're inside. Don't do it here. They won't let. If we do that now, they ain't gonna let us in the door.
We don't
That's more
want
of
to attract attention.
Keep it in mind, and it might be useful later. Shall we?
Mm-hmm.
And you get a bit closer, and they notice, and they reluctantly move to position. Barnabas is probably pleased to note before you guys got within a distance where them being too far from the door would be problematic. So, at the very least, they're being professional about it. Sort of. Given Faraday's remarkable insight check, she can read state your business as, what the fuck are you doing back here? They do not say that, but as far as Farad is concerned, they might as well have. State your business.
Everybody kind of looks at.
I'm assuming everybody's looking at Remy at this point.
Yep.
It's about
Yeah.
we would like to speak to some of the ASMR at the market. We're still looking for my wife, of course, so kind of wondering if anyone else might have spotted her. Even if it's a long shot.
Give me a persuasion check. Speaking plainly, your presence has been a nuisance to all concerned, and it is a further disruption of everybody's day. So we are unfortunately going to have to decline your request. For Faraday. No, you've caused enough trouble. Fuck off.
Remy grits her teeth.
Their hands tighten a little on their spears. They apparently do not like the look on Remy's face one tiny bit.
That's smart.
You know what? We're nearly at break time, getting kind of close, so why don't we take break now while you think about what to do next? Okay, see you in a few minutes.
Good idea.
And we're back, more or less at the gates of the Azamar settlement, being stonewalled. Because let's face it, that was a really shit persuasion roll.
Remy takes a deep breath. We're not trying to be a nuisance, to say the least.
But you're succeeding
I'm just
admirably.
I'm just looking for my wife.
Yes, and you have already searched the place, and she's not here.
Just want to ask the people in the market if they've heard anything.
Why would they have heard anything if she hasn't been here? Clearly you must have thought of that at the time, because you didn't ask then. Flitty, who is currently hiding in Ryland's scarf, which has been doing since breakfast, because when it comes to Alana Mobius, I live here now, very quietly mutters to Ryland, maybe we might want to see who's on the lunchtime shift, which I think is in a couple of hours.
Have you not considered that maybe we just want to ask a different rotation of the guards? Maybe see if other people know information that's...
That's not what Flitty meant.
Is that not what the...
What it literally was is, why don't you try to convince a different set of guards? What's your wisdom's modifier?
+2.
Okay.
That's on me. That's
I'm
my
gonna-
brain doing an error and
Yeah, and Hand of Fate says, yeah, no, it was slightly muffled by Scarf and Remy teeth grinding, so we are a different rotation of the guard. What are you talking about? And that's when you twig what Flitty actually meant. It means what Flitty meant was go away for a couple of hours and then come back and see who else to ask. And
Was that in Sylvan?
yeah, but it was very, very quietly because Flitty doesn't want anyone to know that he's advising the wood elf. And then
just kind of pauses in place, kind of makes a facial expression of just clearly trying to master something, and just tries to turn to Remy and goes, maybe we should come back later. Like trying to whisper to Remy.
okay, I am going to need a stealth check for that. Because
Doing my best here.
the intelligent thing to do would have been saying we're not getting anywhere here, let's go, and then saying that when you're out of your shots. But that's what you're doing.
Mm-mm-mm.
No.
Maybe you should. The other guard, the one who has not been basically insulting you to your face, is maybe you should just go and come back later, and not come back later. Although for Faraday, it's just go away and come back and don't tell us what you're planning. You stupid asshole. I'm trying. She's clearly trying to help here. It really is. Why don't you just go away?
The Remy turns around.
Let's go.
I'm
Yeah.
going to grab the
Stomping
nearest
off.
person who hasn't turned around yet and just start moving backwards.
And again, Farad has the highest passive perception. She actually, as walking away, she's the one who hears the hissed, whispered argument, which you're not entirely sure because you lack Froseth's lip reading, if memory serves me. But either way, you're pretty sure that that's do not get involved with trying to change who's on guard duty for these people. And the one who was helping you trying to bully the other one into not saying that you were at the gate and talking about coming back and trying to con someone else into letting you in. So it's entirely it's a little tricky to figure out how that's going to pan out. But given the intelligence and the fact that she's hearing this, Flitty can make himself invisible. If Flitty hangs around there to hear the end of that argument, you'll know who won and have a better idea of what you're in for when you turn back up.
But Flitty, you want to listen how their current argument ends? What they decide?
Okay. It vanishes and Rylan feels a shift in the scarf as Flitty, because thankfully, as Clarity asked, outside of the anti-magic field. And so, yeah, where are you going to head at this point?
Somewhere down the street, out of
Yeah,
sight.
just out of sight. And
Yeah, I mean, well, your backs are to them, and I figured you were still walking, but I wondered if there was a destination.
Nope. Just down a couple blocks. Random direction.
Well,
Yeah,
I guess
okay.
we've got hours to kill, though, so I don't know what we would do in that time.
figure out
Probably
a best
won't.
way to get in, I suppose. 'Cause that did not go to plan.
Poor Rylan.
Hmm. We can either just wander the city until then,
Well, we could
or actually
check.
pick somewhere to go.
Well, we could check out that creepy alley that that Faraday had mentioned.
Go check
I
it
also
out.
kind of wondered if there might be. It's a long shot and probably not something that they got in this stronghold of theirs, but whether there might be some other way in.
Okay, this one's predominantly for Remy and Hazel because they've had the significant religious education. One a little more steady than the other. Can you both make me a religion check, please?
Oof.
Well, Remy,
Oh,
it'd
this
be.
isn't even going to compare. Watch this.
It's gonna come very fucking close.
Wow, dice, saving your rolls for this?
Both of you at about the same time. Remy just a little tiny bit ahead of Hazel. Farlan, the street of the happy wanderer, doesn't just mean countries and cities and things. It's getting places.
Clarity, come on, we have a place to go. I'm just going to latch on to Clarity and just take off in where I vaguely recall that street must have been.
You could tell. Wing.
That broke up about halfway, but I'm pretty sure I got it, so that's okay. Yeah,
We
because
should
they've.
follow Hazel.
Yeah,
Okay.
there are certain amounts of "you are here" signs, mostly at major junctions, and there wasn't a whole lot of traffic on the road out of and into the Azamar settlement is. It's pretty easy to spot when somebody's coming, just because there's no other traffic and no buildings, etc. So you just kind of curve in to the Heavens Ward, which is the circular bits of block around the plateau that is the Bone Orchard. So it doesn't take you very long at all to find a "you are here" and drag yourselves into the Street of the Happy Wanderer, where you're seeing predominantly the inns, but can all of you make me a perception check?
Ooh, drill 20.
Yep. Of course, this would probably make a lot of sense because if there's one thing Clarity really appreciates is being able to get into a place undetected. So it's a very small shop and it's deliberately recessed back into the wall a little bit. But she can see the gleam of various different kinds of lockpicks and a small silver lettered sign that just says Snoops.
This shop is speaking to me. Let's go there.
If you say so.
Yeah, because what this shop is, as you get a little closer, is yeah, this is forgetting where you need to go when where you need to go is inaccessible for reasons. If anybody was going to know how to break in to that particular settlement, it would be here. They might not have the means on display. You might have to ask some questions and hope that you get somebody sympathetic behind the counter. But this seems, from what Clarity's seeing when she's looking in the window, because there's only enough room for like 3 of you across the shop. It's apparently deep and tall, but really not very wide. Um, but it looks like not just thieves' tools as you know them. There's some things that probably came out of Egref, the crystals with little runes on them that you can't quite see through the window, and some scroll tubes that you think might be floor plans. This basically looks like Burglar Central.
Hello?
Well, shall I assume that you are poking your head in?
Mhm.
Yeah, the shop is not particularly well lit, but towards the back of the room you find dark vision. It's almost at the edge of your dark vision. This desk that behind which sits gnome. You're fairly sure. Great deal of very, very curly red hair and a lot of freckles. Hello?
Hello?
You're calling attention to my shop.
I-
Are you going to
I'm
come into it?
I'm in. I'm
I'm
in.
I wasn't assuming. I just knew you opened the door.
Mhm.
You would hate it if I assumed you walked through a door if it was something that might be trapped, you know.
Yeah,
That's why you tell
I
me.
get it, but I thought anyway. I had directed everybody that way, so that's what I thought. I had gone in.
Well, I was just you see, I was assuming that you were standing at the window looking in, which is why I gave you a very vague description of things, because obviously you can see more when you're inside.
Hmm.
Yeah, when you enter, and again, I won't make assumptions that anyone's following, but unless I may
Well,
I
make.
want to follow.
There is
I,
a
dra-
room.
I beeline towards this direction in the first place. I need
Fair
to
enough.
see.
Depending
Um,
on how much room there is, I'd probably wait outside.
yeah, I mean, there's enough room deep. There's a lot of room deep.
What?
Uh, and the ceilings are not low exactly, but it's a narrow sort of building. You can all certainly fit, but the space between the shelves on either side is about a little bit wider than Barnabas at his widest point. So, being very careful, but not having to turn sideways and scooch. So, it's okay. But, yeah, no, this. You walk in, there's. The first thing you see is a wide variety of lock picks, from the basic ones you have to small display stand of what you recognize from Darwin and Alisaie as every gadgets, to really, I mean, it's a wide roll of them, and the unrolled display model, if you like, is more tools than you have ever seen. A few of them you're going, if I'd had that, I could have got into that one place. Next to them is shelves of, again, different colored crystals, different runes, all sort of yay by maybe yay. Um, if you reach in their general direction, there's a static electricity zap, and you can't move your hand any further than that unless it's backwards. Obviously, if you're selling things that facilitate break-ins, you're going to be careful about people stealing your shit. And yeah, beyond that, rolls upon rolls of scroll tubes and one of those Beauty and the Beast bell ladder things. Is
Yeah.
obviously because Gnome, who's looking at this, is an interesting bunch that has just entered my shop. looks at Farida and Barnabas in particular. Please tell me you're not attempting a career in burglary.
Oh no.
Good. Also, you are not allowed to arrest us. We have a license.
Yeah,
Huh.
we figured. Question, DM. Am I recognizing this gnome by chance? Because I'm getting flashbacks to our very first extraordinarily stabby friend.
Make me a perception check.
15.
Yeah, this gnomes are almost as clannish as halflings. They they just tend to not clump. This is probably a relation of Mira's. You've
We
actually met
have,
a couple of relations of Mira's on your various travels. You just haven't necessarily noticed.
yeah, trying to figure out if this is one that I have a remembrance of the last name for.
I don't remember off the top of my head. We haven't used Evan's surname in a very long time. But in any case, yeah, there's enough resemblance to Evan and to Mira that yeah, this is probably of the same family. Why is this one looking at me?
Sorry, you wouldn't happen to be in some way related to a Mira Deadeye, would you?
She was my cousin.
Oh, crap.
And yes, I know was. You mentioned to another one of my cousins in, I think, Egref. Word travels.
Yeah, it
And
just wasn't entirely.
we
Didn't
understand.
know how far that had spread yet.
We're gnomes. We're not quite as good at gossip as halflings, but when it's family, we hear. We also hear that little Evan is getting much better care. Now that we know that Evan exists, that's great.
I was
So,
I was very interested in your shop, and I happened to see these crystals over here, and I wondered what they did. And while she's talking, she's signing in Thieves' Cant. Like, would you happen to know a way that we can sneak into the compound?
well, the first thing he does, because he does recognize the genuine interest, is explain the crystals. Well, you know that there's more than just physical locks. You know, there's magical locks.
For sure.
So you have things that uh, sometimes you can't even see that you might want to get into because somebody has stolen something of yours and perhaps they're a powerful magic user and you happen to know that from tracking them that they have parked themselves into one of those tiny huts or even the magnificent mansions or
Mm.
they just have certain force fields and things. Now, obviously, the price depends on how powerful the spell they are meant to get around. For little things like the tiny hut, there you have those are 30 gold, and the ones for the magnificent mansion, those are 50 gold. We do a very very specialized line, and in Thieves' Cant you're getting this is the bit you're going to want to listen to. Are ones that can actually get around a prismatic wall. But of course, I can't keep those on display. If you wanted to look at those, I might have to bring up one of my assistants and show you the specialty stock upstairs.
Oh.
Which, thieves' can't, you're getting, we really need to talk about this privately.
The specialty stock sounds very interesting. I love all sorts of new things.
This somehow does not surprise me. It's tiniest bit leans down to basically towards the very, very end. There's stairs that Barnabas and Farida are going to have to navigate sideways, but leans down and Devin, I'm gonna need you to mind the shop. But I'm working. Well, you can work up here. Oh, fine. And yeah, it's the youngish gnome who comes up as sort of teenage equivalent. Yeah, now it's like Rylan and Farida, the higher passive perceptions that are starting to notice that this is probably what Evan's going to look like as a teenager, or gnomish equivalent. The less of the curl in the hair, but very, very red, lots and lots of freckles. He's growing into the ears a bit, but it's also sort of a way of walking that is like at once quiet and I want people to be aware of my presence right now, but you wouldn't be aware of it if I didn't want you to be. And comes up with a couple of handfuls of scrolls in a bag and just plunk. My son. If you'd like to come with me.
And I follow.
Should we wait it out outside, Clarity?
I had a feeling that expenditures of this type, and to be fair, you're not noticing very much right now, but Ms. 20 perception check and a couple of the other ones are recognizing the I'm coaching you here tone of voice. For expenditures this potentially large, you might want your entire group, or as close to it as you can get, to be involved in the discussion.
Okay.
And once you all get upstairs, yeah, this is a less cluttered space because obviously there's not so much the selling of the things, but the more perceptive of you can feel this place humming with magic. Clearly, this place has some protections on it that they probably have circums for, but they are not going to sell them to anybody. So, yes, I wasn't lying about any of what I said, but there's some subtext here that probably got missed. I'd say I'm sorry, but I'm really not. Why do you want to break in to the Azamar hidey hole?
Well, we've had some trouble with the guards, and we are actually looking for this one's wife.
They kidnapped my wife.
Okay, I'm getting two slightly conflicting variations on this theme here. Wait a minute, there was some thing a couple of days ago about somebody who looked like what would happen if an Azamar had their wings basically all the time.
That's her.
Making
That would be her.
Yep.
okay. I mean, there have been a few different rumors. One had it that she was only passing through. A couple of the more fanciful types on the Street of Song insist that she went back to sit at Brancala's right hand, or Sune's, depending on who you're listening to, and looks a little bit worriedly at Remy and is sort of like, however, some of the more trustworthy accounts were that there was a conversation and kidnapping is actually probably the better word.
Mm-hmm.
So, why does it feel like you knew about the hidey hole before she came here? And why was she here without you?
We're trying to help the other Protector Asimar who are also being held against their will, if not quite so literally locked in cells, but obviously not allowed to leave the district.
Well, I mean, I haven't been in there. You hear a couple of people talking when they deliver the few supplies they get in there, but I think some of them are still more or less willing. It's mostly the younger ones that really want out, which I can't say I blame them. There is a world. So you want so the guards are being difficult.
Yep.
Can I get some I'm sorry if I seem to be asking a lot of questions, but I kind of want to know how much trouble I'm going to get in over this.
They're on to us. We had a talk with the captain and he showed us around a bit. And we pretended that we didn't know she was there, but inevitably he's caught on.
I'm fairly confident we caused infighting.
That too. Guards aren't all in agreement over whether they should be all holding themselves up there.
Well, yeah, that's more or less common knowledge. Um, or at the very least, the best explanation we have for why they keep turning up at Her Grace's bower. Normally, they keep it to there. I taking it that. Oh, hang on. How did you know that they're infighting if you haven't been in? Except
We were in once and were given a tour and looked around, but we realized we should have been asking other people some questions. And now they don't want to let us in because they say, you were here yesterday. Why do you need to be back?
well,
And just how the two guards there were treating each other. Very, the you two are out here. You're in the corner. You gotta have to get along.
aha, right. So what you're telling me is I should be very, very grateful I have very good fire insurance.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
A little bit of reassurance would have been nice, but if that's the situation, then that's the situation. Because I'm taking it that I mean, obviously you want your wife back. Sorry, I'm going to incarceration methods for someone who can actually fly. But
They, DM, if I recall, we were all like sort of informed that that wings likely were clipped. That was me who had the idea first.
yes, that was confirmed. I'm going to assume you all shared it around. Wings clipped. They took away her means of lockpicking, and then had to take desperate measures when she punched a door down.
Well, to start with, they've already had to take drastic measures in that, in the form of wing clipping. Then there was the fact that she's punched a door clear off its hinges at least once. And demonstrated the ability to pick locks.
Well, I like her already. I appreciate somebody with a deft touch with locks. So they've
So
they've apparently found some significant incarceration methods.
Yes.
Very
now she's under a
drastic.
sleep spell, which
Okay,
also
so
gives her nightmares. So they effectively torture.
technically out of character, technically not anymore.
We've solved the torture part, thankfully.
So if
One
she's
part, anyways.
if she's sleeping, how are you getting her out?
That's the
We're
question.
still working on it.
It sounds like
We're
you have a lot of.
trying.
It sounds like you have a lot of questions.
Yes.
One is how to get into the compound if I'm assuming the second shift doesn't let you in. The other one is how you're going to get her out if
Without
she's,
starting a fight.
if they're already fighting in amongst themselves, I'm not entirely sure that that's possible at this point, unless something a lot more important than you steps in. No offense meant.
Well,
Yeah,
see
we're
what
working on that
happens.
angle too.
So I have to ask, because this affects pricing. Is this, we might not have to use it, but just in case? Or is this, we're definitely going to do it, and in either case, what is your absolute objective? Because I need to know where you need to get. And how many
At
of
this
you are going, because there's going to be some... I'm going to have to make some allowances, depending on size.
At this point, I think all we need to do immediately is get some people inside to talk to some more of the Protector Asimar. And not do a dramatic jailbreak just yet.
Okay, that's going to be problematic, because honestly, the jailbreak would have been easier.
That's good to know.
The best way of getting in that isn't the front gate, in fact, one of the only ways of getting in that isn't the front gate, for anything more than maybe one or two exceptionally sneaky individuals, it's not just the top 2 floors that anti-magic field doesn't touch. They have an elevator. That isn't just mechanical. To be fair, guys, none of the elevators that you've ever seen have been just mechanical.
So wait, how?
Elevators have maintenance shafts. When they have to replace crystals and check chains and guide ropes and things along those lines. So
Right.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah.
you don't
That was
just...
more of a. How is it just mechanical?
No, I said it's not just out of character because Hazel's not that dumb. It's not just mechanical. As I said, I was saying out of character. I was dropping a clue because no elevator you have ever seen has ever been just mechanical.
Okay, got it. I
So
misunderstood the sentence order there.
yes, so it's the so going back, just going. There's an elevator in there. All of that core bit is exempt from the anti-magic field. Has to be, because the lift wouldn't function otherwise. And you can't access it from within the field.
Yeah, that would.
Because they're worried about any potential... I mean, obviously things that you bring into the field that don't work when they're in the field still work when they come out. But
Yeah.
some of the devotees of the Forge are still a little iffy about that, and they're not generally happy with going into something where they're calling upon the Forge and they can't feel it. So, sort of, it's close to the coastline. At the coastline, there is an entrance that will lead you in to the maintenance shaft, which will, if you follow it, get you all the way to the center of the building. Now, I'm assuming you have a reasonable set of lockpicks, because obviously they lock that door. Both
Yeah.
sides.
Though I would like another gadget.
And if you're going to Egrif anytime soon, you might want to get one there, because we have to do a markup.
Okay.
Import fees.
Gotcha.
I mean, they're not as high as they might be, because I get those from my cousin, but if you can get them from there, you're better off doing so. I know I'm talking myself out of a purchase, but you are going to be paying for this information. So, just so that you're aware, if you do renege on paying me, I report you to the guard.
Fair enough.
Sounds fair.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, that's not really good for your purposes, because either way, you're coming up into that tower and it's full of guards. Depending on if you've got anyone on the inside who might be able to turn a blind eye when you leave, it's a possibility. The only other way I know about, and it's going to be unfortunate for you on a lot of levels, is our sewage system.
Yeah.
We'll do what we gotta do.
It's not just the general problems with sewer systems. It's also that there's things down there.
Great. What kind of things?
Things that want to eat your head.
Oh
How big
boy.
are they?
Depends. Some of them are small and come in very, very large packs. Some of them are quite large. It's an ecosystem like any other, and
Fair
we
enough.
do send adventurers in to clear things out occasionally, but we mostly have to leave them alone, because the whole street of Obad High worshippers who revere the dangerous things. So,
And there's the fascinated one up at the Bone Orchard, which probably doesn't help either.
yeah, she's come in about 5 different times for detailed maps of the sewer systems, and her sister always comes along, and when she starts getting a little too overexcited, there's Thwap. These are the things I have to put up with. Now, that information alone, without any of the significant details, that costs you 5 gold. For an additional 20 gold on top of that, we give you copies of floor plans. Add an additional 5 for a total of 30 gold, and I mark the best entry points on your copies of the floor plans for you.
Done.
Okay. I'm going to have to spend a couple of hours pulling up copies. I'm going to throw in a little bonus for you gratis, because you didn't give me any shit over this. Ask Devin downstairs for the one-shot dispel amulet, because I wouldn't have put it past them if they're that set on. I wouldn't put it past them to have magically trapped your escape, your maintenance tunnel to the elevators. For all I know, they might have done something similar to the entrances to their part of the sewer system. What this will do is effectively clasp it in your hand once you have sensed a magical trap, and it will dispel it. It will last for 24 hours and will only begin activating once you put it on.
Great.
So for a day, it will dispel any traps we.
Any magical traps, obviously. If it's physical traps, you're on your own. But you've clearly got somebody who knows how to deal with that. So, yeah, I decided not to go into physical traps because I was not going to insult the lady's intelligence. Now, is there anything else? Because I'm going to have to spend a few hours at this.
That
That's
clarity,
already
thoughts?
a lot of help.
No, that's perfect.
Thank you.
Barnabas, you have probably done a few sewer sweeps in your time, given the district that you used to work in. You are now probably going, you know that you are probably now going to want to ask, okay, there's things down there. You can't describe all of them clearly, but where can we go for something at the very least charm-like to protect knees down minimum? Because you have seen a few people not bother with that kind of enchantment, and the various different infections on the mostly skin infections between the toes, etc., etc. It was not pleasant.
Where would we go for any kind of prophylactic against the sort of infectious stuff in the sewers? I'm assuming there'd be someone.
Well, you will be spending a fair bit of time wading through not only the usual wastes, but we aren't Agref, but we have our experimental sorts. Baori is a hearth goddess as much as she is a plenty goddess. So you will find at the far end of her shop, closer to the Street of Love and Beauty, little shop, Matilda's. Shouldn't cost too much, but she can throw a 24-hour anti-infection charm on lower articles of clothing, the sort of thing that are going to get saturated if you don't have something to protect from. And can work on skin, I believe, for those of you who don't wear shoes.
I've done the sewer sweep before, and you don't want to forget this sort of thing.
I don't know about hooves, but Matilda's good people.
Thank you.
It's payment on receipt of your maps, so you can pay when you come back.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Heads downstairs and down to the basement. Devin, 24-hour dispel for these people. What, really? I will tell you later. So you guys are going. You don't want to talk about the caper down here, do you?
Probably not.
No.
Definitely do have a few things to discuss.
But not the caper. Not now. Nuts. Taps a little on a portion of the desk, and in a place you wouldn't think a drawer should be, because it should get in the way of the drawer he'd just been rummaging in. But he shut that one, tapped on the side, and one opens out the side. It's like one of those really weird puzzle boxes, except entirely physically improbable. Pulls out Charm. Right, don't wear it unless you want the countdown to start. Okay?
Take it.
Dad had his I'm going to mark things now face on, so I guess I'll see you in a couple of hours.
I didn't catch your father's name.
Anton.
Anton. Great. Good to meet you both.
Likewise. Have fun storming the whatever.
Yeah.
He goes back to his work. And I'm guessing out of Snoops you go.
Yup.
Yeah.
He was right. A jailbreak would be easier.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I hear more about this entire setup that they have going on over there, I keep wanting to hit him in the face even more. You know who I mean when I say him.
Yes.
Yeah, he has good intentions, but
Don't let me within arm's reach of him. I will hit him.
Barnabas, you're the one who has the strongest grasp of the law. Because, again, you are lawful good who's landed in an entire world of neutral good at best. Technically, a jailbreak could work. Because, yes, you want to talk to the Azamar there and try to convince them that the outside is okay. But it doesn't necessarily have to happen in that order. If you just did decide to get Alisaie out, if you figured out how, then she'd be able to report the abuses that not only happened to her, but will clearly start happening to anyone else who starts questioning his authority, if given further time, directly to the governor.
Mm.
Sometimes a material witness is a good thing to have.
You know, we could just break Alisaie out and basically use her as a witness to the governor to get yon asshole thrown out of his position. Hopefully.
that could work. I'm sure she'd be
mean-
more than happy to share what they did.
Plus, we'd be getting her out of the bullshit that they've got her, trapped in sooner.
And then you guys, out of character, and then you guys could reassure the Protector Azamar later. You've been looking at it as protecting the Azamar, reassuring the Azamar, and then getting Alisaie out, but you could theoretically do it the other way. It's a thought, is all. And it just made sense that Barnabas would be the one to have it, because he's very big on material witnesses.
It's not as if Tag will talk to us anymore, which means we can't
Not
convince him
honestly,
to
no.
back down.
And around that point, Rylan feels a little weight on his head. I looked for you all everywhere. I only saw you just a little while ago. Clarity, you speak Sylvan, and Flitty becomes visible at that point, and you realize the only reason they could see it was because you led them to it. The whole shop is effectively protected by some magical equivalent of Thieves' Cant.
Jesus Christ.
Because
So cool.
Because Flitty couldn't see you, and you're getting in Sylvan. I looked, and I didn't find you anywhere. And now you're back. Where have you been?
Sorry, Flitty. It's the shop that we were in. It's hidden. in some sort
Wait,
of
that place is
magical. Yeah, because I showed it to you. You didn't notice otherwise, but it's like thieves' cant, but magic.
Holy
Huh.
That does
carp.
make sense for
Is it
for-
strange that I almost think these would have been worthy opponents back home? You know,
It certainly seemed
because
good to
that's a good
me.
trick. That is a very good trick.
So what are we doing? Oh, I kind of listened to them having the argument, and it feels like they're sending out one that does want the Azamar out and one that doesn't every time because they've been fighting. And they said something about we don't want you know, I don't care how you feel about it, you don't want to end up like Clint and Adelaide. I think they got punished.
Listen, now.
What is it?
Yeah, because of course this is Flitty. Nobody who cannot understand Sylvan
Oh right, I didn't.
understood that.
Sounds like Adelaide and Clin got punished somehow. That they're putting out one of each of the one who wants the Protector Asmar out and one who doesn't, and they've been made an example of, I guess.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Crap. Sounds like they know that there were sub factions in their group.
Definitely.
I think they know that the Clin man helped Alisaie.
Flitty
Names the
says
two
that.
of them.
Yeah,
Got
they think that Clin helped him and know it. So
And that means the two of them can't help us with getting in the tower. And we don't know who. If someone sees us, we won't know whether they'll be friendly or not.
Um, I'm not great with common, but the those couple of floors that the magic still works in, I can still be invisible in. I could probably look and see where they are. And if it's something that you still have the Alisaie ladies fiddly thing. If one of them can use it, maybe I can help get them out. If they're on the non-magic floor. And even if they are on the magic floor, because I can be sneaky. I can be real sneaky.
I'll translate for everybody.
That's dangerous,
I was gonna
Liddy.
say
I know you're very sneaky, but that's
You're all gonna
very
be in
dangerous.
danger. I'm still gonna be in danger just sitting hiding in the scarf. And turns around to Farida and switches to Draconic. I'm part of the team. Danger's gonna happen to me anyway.
of course you're part of the team, but the
I
difference is you'd be with us.
But
I
you're
agree
big.
with
Yeah, but
Flitty here.
you're big and get noticed.
True.
And even if I'm in the scarf, if somebody throws magic or a sword or something, it's me anyway. I want to be something useful.
That's true.
Besides, This wouldn't be the first time I'd done sneakies.
I worry it would draw more attention to them and get them in even more trouble, wouldn't it? If they get caught.
They wouldn't necessarily know it was me, and probably if they saw somebody getting out some more from their own, they wouldn't be happy if people they liked and were on their side got locked up. And yeah, it'd be fighty, but at least they'd be out and they'd have allies.
Hmm.
And as for how dangerous it is, you tell the Remy lady that I was in the Southern Lands when I was red. Draconic, unfortunately, so it's...
I will translate that.
You're right, buddy. Just worried, but you're right. We need your help.
That's what I'm here for.
Scritch, scritch, scritch.
But, I'm guessing we're not doing this right now? I mean, by this time, the Heavens Ward takes a while to navigate, and by this point, you're probably approaching the rendezvous at Rossetti's. It was sort of a late lunch, early supper kind of a thing, because it wasn't going to take Darwin that long. So I'll have a good knob while you all decide what to do, and then I will go and I will ride to the rescue. Do-do-do.
Good luck, Flitty.
I'm not going yet. We all have to decide what we're doing. That's all the whole problem. We always go and run into places without the full plan. I'm not going to do that. Vera Lady taught me better than that.
That's it. That's Sylvan.
That is Sylvan because it's directed at Hazel.
All hail Lyra for being awesome.
Well, she had to rescue me kind of on the way to the Summerlands, and she didn't really have time to find anywhere that wasn't the Summerlands. So I went with her.
I think we do we well. If we do it, make it so that if he gets into trouble, he just bolts out of there, even if you haven't managed to find.
I don't think it'll be a problem, but look, the Hazel Lady has managed to bring me back to life once, and you did to the Alisaie Lady twice. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be okay.
Alright.
I am ride or die with Frosting just like you. I'm going to be brave about it.
I know.
Now come on. You can kill some time waiting for whatever it is you're waiting for with tasty knobs.
Yeah.
And yeah, you arrive a little while later at Rossetti's, which is a moderately fancy place of the sort that's kind of bar bistro in the front and more proper eatery in the back, and Darwin kind of sitting thoughtfully at the bar, clearly waiting for you guys. Funnily enough, seems to have either orange or carrot juice. You're not entirely sure, but is doing that I am being very contemplative kind of thing. And looks up when you guys turn up, and it's like, "Oh, good, you're here. Please tell me what's going on." Because I have a lot to think about, and if you're gonna ask me, you're gonna ask me about the governor. Because if you're gonna ask me about the other thing, please don't. I'm still trying to process that.
Orange or carrot?
Never change, Hazel. Carrot, actually. I miss being a bunny sometimes, okay?
There we go. We needed that after the discussion we've been having.
Yeah, it looks like it. Before we go and sit down, I'll try for there's good news and there's iffy news. Uh,
Well, we have good news and bad news, so you're doing better.
well, it could be bad news, but I'm trying for iffy because I kind of want to take out some of the bad. The good news is we definitely have an appointment with the governor. Uh, it's just not going to be immediately. And we're not talking weeks or anything. Apparently, he can squeeze us in tomorrow, sort of afternoon-ish. I mean, I don't know if any of the stuff you're finding is important enough to barge in on a governor, you know? I remember my experiences with the last ones. Okay, okay, I remember one of the last ones. I'm not doing that again. But I mean,
And
obviously, if it's important, yeah. But I'm not going to be the one doing it because I've had one governor yell at me, and I'm really not keen on that happening again. Does your good and bad need a private table?
probably.
And proprietor is actually one of the few tabaxi you have seen out of Egref. Well, Mater D, anyway. Don't worry, none of the staff will shed into the food. Then Darwin and Zikiak, could we have a private table? All of the tables at Rosetti's are private tables, I promise you. Step in, and what you have is, I mean, you know your usual 4-seater booth? Well, this is an 8-seater around a roundish table, so you get sort of 2 per booth all around the table. And it's Faraday with the really high passive perception who notices the little runes etched into the little metal strip across the top of the booths, and onto the strip that apparently sets up where they're supposed to be on the floor. And give me an Arcana check.
From all of us.
21.
Nope. This is for Faraday because she's the one who noticed. And yeah, that is it's a complicated bit of magic that she only really knows about because she went a little bit farther into Twilly's books than anybody but Twilly herself, in fact, expected. That is a very specific noise dampening spell that will register some noise from outside, little background ambient, music, etc., and will let a server lean in to hear orders and things, but will not let the conversation at the table filter to any other table, which is why all you've heard is the pianist in the corner, clearly having come from the street of song, just playing something nice and backgroundy to keep it from being too quiet in here. So you've got Faraday looking at the bits of.
That is really clever.
Yeah, it'd be Clarity next because she may not have much magic anymore, but she's studied just about enough to know what the intent was. No idea how they did it though.
It is cool. We'll be safe to talk in here.
And I kind of figured we probably would be because I don't think I don't. I know Alana Mobius is scary, but in a way, Niala is scarier. Helpful scary, but scary.
Yeah, which makes me wonder what happens when they end up working as a team. like actually working as a team.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason for all of those stories, and now that I know they're real, they just got like 6 times scarier.
It's the thing of dropping out of trees for me. Does she never sleep? Anyway, no, sorry.
Back
Entirely off the subject.
Yeah, now you got me wondering that. Thanks, Darvin.
Sorry.
Dear Halo above.
Right, so
Good news and bad news?
Yes.
more or less. Um, bad news, we're probably not going to be able to get back in the official way. But good news is we may have ways to sneak in.
Now, of course, we're Rylan, are you okay? I just imagine that probably crossed over their face when we're probably not going to be able to get it. What happened?
The
Don't
bad
wanna
news is
talk
that
about it.
Adelaide and Glenn got caught.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, there's a lot of bad news. Because I really only had good news and middling news. And personal, private, don't want to talk about it yet news.
The good news is we have a way into the tower, and so we can get Alisaie out.
Is that the plan? I'm not against it. This all sounds like bullshit, but
Well, Boneless
That
did
is
point
the
out
formulating plan.
that we could, and now that we've got an appointment with the governor, even more so, since Alisaie bid in the compound, that even if we don't speak to the other Azamar, we can get Alisaie out and she can relate to the governor everything she's seen and experienced.
oh, so it's good that I couldn't get an appointment with the governor today.
Kind of,
Mhm.
I guess, yeah.
Okay,
Gives us some time.
yeah, because we're gonna need more time than just getting her out of there. Because if she's under a sleep enchantment, we're gonna need to get that off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, the only person I know who can dispel magic is the one who needs it.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I don't think would work, would it?
Well, I mean, there's lots of people. I'm sure if we ask Nyala knows everything. You wind up with a human turning up and leaning just a little bit into the bubble. Hello, I'm Malcolm. I'll be your server this evening. Here's how it works. I basically give you the option of beef, fowl, fish, or vegetarian. You can ask me further questions if you like, or I can surprise you. I understand that might be a thing.
Just
Word
the
gets out
cringe,
fast.
like, cringe.
Word gets out fast, but and puts down a basket of. They seem to be little garlic bread rolls.
Oh boy.
And you have a choice of potatoes or rice, and you also get seasonal vegetable. So, beef, fowl, fish, vegetarian.
Beef.
All beef.
Foul for me.
Fish.
I'll try the fish too.
Foul.
I wind up looking at Ryland.
Beef is fine.
And nobody's gonna ask me questions. This is hilarious.
Yeah, this is too interesting.
And Darvin is like, you know what? Nobody else has had it, and I figure we'll be sampling taste of everybody else's. I'm gonna have the vegetarian. Very well. And wanders off.
Wow, you
How
really are feeling
crowded is
bonafide
this
today.
restaurant?
Um, it looks like the end of a lunchtime rush because you guys are having a fairly late lunch, so there's a few people lingering over drinks, but of course it hasn't been made in. I mean, Remy has been told it's safe to talk here, but nobody's gone to
Remy
any.
looks around briefly. Man, this place is really quiet.
It's the things Clarity and I were looking at. There's a enchantment around the booth that stops the sound from
Oh.
traveling properly.
Huh.
So is any conversation going to happen between food delivery and, or are you just going to wait until the food arrives so that you've got a longer span of uninterrupted time?
So I take it, judging by everyone's, I guess, general opinion on this, is that we're going for jailbreak first.
Yeah, and we have to go
I'm not sure we
tonight.
have a choice.
It seems the easiest option.
Relatively easy.
Seems more efficient.
And now that begs further questions. Sewers or
But
Well,
don't you have to go in through, because the sewers let you out outside of the tower and you want to be inside of the tower?
right, so maintenance shaft and then sewers.
No, just maintenance shaft because that gets you right into the tower that you want to be. And then you take the elevator because you have magic there for longer.
Right,
And
that.
it actually
Okay.
means I can hide in the elevator. So when you're trying to come up, I can give you warning of what you might find up there. Because I can stay invisible.
And Liddy just wins this one.
I really need to learn silly.
I'm helpful. Starts eviscerating one of the garlic bread rolls. You gotta try some of these, guys. Real good. Nyumph.
Yeah, definitely yoinking, definitely garlic bread yoinking, because
Yeah.
that the smell's already starting to cause Hazel to salivate and or vibrate in place.
Yeah, funnily
Imagining
enough,
it.
it's not just garlic bread rolls. It's garlic bread rolls with a little bit of mozzarella.
Oh, so
Keep getting reminded that everywhere here is made of food.
good. Mm-hmm.
Like, especially here. Like, Egg Rapids is just shenanigans. Here it's food, superfood. Like, I'm
Spe-
fairly certain this food is capable of magically empowering pretty much anyone anywhere somehow.
Speaking of, food does in fact arrive. The fowl appears to be small game bird, pheasant, partridge, something like that. So individual little partridge, which seems to be full of a kind of an orange sauce. The fish is technically not fish as much as it is kebabs that are, well, there's some fish because there's uh, chunks of salmon interspersed with prawns and scallops. All in a kind of a butter sauce, which I'm doing for Lindira so that she can live vicariously through Clarity. Um, the beef is cuts of prime rib, and the vegetarian is a really remarkable looking ratatouille.
Wow, Darvin, really going full on rabbit today.
Well, nobody else was having it. Anyway, I'm stealing some of yours.
Sure.
And puts a little spoonful of his on plate of anyone who wants to share their bits of entree. And Flitty, of course, as the little butterfly winged hero of the hour, is just bouncing around, taking occasional nomphs as they are offered. So okay, we're past time, and there's probably some discussions that need to have, and it would be good to have a couple of weeks to think about them. So when we come back in 2 weeks' time, we'll actually be the leverage crew. Happy heisting.